All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2. Hello, D-Gens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the Brofict one, AJ. Joining me as always, man with the numbers, sportsbook whisperer, college basketball guru, daddy of the diamond, all hail the king of the links, the money train. Noah, how you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing all right, all things considered. It was a good weekend again. A good weekend in the sports world. Unfortunate result for my fantasy team, putting up the second most points in the league and still catching an L. So don't love that. But hey, I put my GM hat on earlier today, and I'm like, all right, I don't think I need to make any drastic moves. Team's doing really well. Might be 0-2. Still have the fifth most points in the league out of 12. But we're looking for those little tweaks to get in the win column.
Yeah. Good luck with that. If you follow the show, I drafted 9 fantasy leagues over multiple live streams, and this week's result.
Keeping up.
No, I'm actually having a real good time. I went 7-2 this week. Looking at all of my leagues, you know what I mean? So I had 7 wins, 2 losses in the leagues. And then looking at that, out of those 7, 4 of those I am 2-0. The other 3 I am 1-1. And then the other ones I'm also 1-1. So those 2 losses, I mean, not too bad. I'll take everything. And we're just going to keep the process going. I might be the greatest football GM ever by the end of this season if I can pull out a couple championships in 9 leagues. I'm just saying, until
we get into the heat of the season, and then AJ's got accidentally starting guys on bye weeks or guys who are injured because he's struggling to keep up with 9 whole fucking fantasy teams.
Nah, dude, it's really not that bad. What would put me into that status? I don't know, the god of fantasy football or the fantasy football. Get me the nickname. What would get me the nickname if I get 5 championships?
Well, so here's the thing. Yeah, because
I think I'd have to go 5 and 4.
I'm assuming, are these 10-team ESPN PPR leagues?
Yeah.
And you're playing random people. So there's a good chance in any given league, 2 to 3 out of the 10 people in that league are just going to give up partway through the season.
So in my defense, all of them were, I believe all of them except 2 or 3 were drafted in the quote unquote expert pool. You know what I mean? They've got the quote unquote levels.
Yeah, but still with no last place punishments and no monetary buy-in, there's still a good chance 2 to 3. I think that's a good number. 2 to 3 in each of those leagues are going to give up partway through the season.
Fine.
And just not give a fuck, which is fine because you still do have competition there. So out of 9, yeah, I'm going to say if you take home the crown in 5 of them, AJ, that's pretty damn impressive. I expect you to win at least 2.
That's kind of I set my over under at kind of 2.5. I think
anything
2 is a good line.
Anything less than 2 is a disappointment in leagues against randos.
I think the big thing is I can't have Emike Ibuka. Looking at my fantasy leagues and how I drafted, I think Emike Ibuka and Tucker Kraft are going to be my 2 biggest losses if I have injuries, because a lot of the teams are
you better knock on wood right
different enough.
Do not put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I'm looking at this, looking at the way I constructed the teams and everything. I got more than enough depth. I'm not worried about depth, but looking at the guys who get points and who have gotten points early in this season, that would be a devastating blow. But I'm just saying, we're off to a hell of a start in my fantasy world, Noah. But we will talk about the NFL later, Noah, but we got a lot of college football to break down after we had a very exciting week 3. Before we go any further, though, just want to take a moment, shout out to everyone watching here on Rumble, over on YouTube and X. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. And Noah, actually, since we're getting into college football, breaking news, it's official, the entire 2026 recruiting class for UCLA has decommitted from the school. It felt like, I mean, UCLA and Virginia Tech firing their head coaches, going out of week 3. It really felt like every time I opened Twitter on Sunday, it was someone else going into the portal, someone else decommitting, someone else, and UCLA just in absolute shambles right now. I mean, Noah, I haven't seen a school in this rough of shape in quite some time, and they're not one of those schools where they can rely on legacy and rely on, stuff like that to help them rebuild. They're in a tough spot, dude.
Yeah, no, God, and Virginia Tech will bounce back. They'll be fine.
I'm not worried about Virginia Tech. That's a desirable job and a desirable school at a desirable location, and they can rebuild that.
Yeah, UCLA, the only thing they have going for them is the conference that they're in right now in Big Ten. And I actually, UCLA's coach, I think he'll get back on his feet. He'll take a better job and get back to success. I really don't think this was about him. I think there's a lot of underlying issue with UCLA. Their football program, their athletic department, it operates at a deficit, which is not a good place to begin with. They have no capacity for like NIL. So in today's day and age, how are you going to attract people to go there? Their practice field is not even a full-size football field. And then they play 45 minutes away from their campus in the most historic, coolest stadium that there is in college football, but they can't even fill it to 30% capacity for most of their games, which is just fucking embarrassing. And so there's just so many underlying issues with UCLA football that I don't think they're gonna have such a fucking hard time attracting a halfway decent coach to come in. They're gonna have to just really find a diamond in the rough. Like, I mean, they're gonna have to go grab some OC or DC from some like probably group of 6, group of 5 school that just turns out to be a phenomenal coach, and they'll be there for a couple of years until they get snatched up by some much bigger program. And that's really their only hope. And the problem with that is if they do that and they swing and miss, they're going to be even worse than they are now. And they're just going to be, I just see them as kind of, there's a very good chance they're just going to, for the next decade plus, just be the laughing stock of power conference football.
Yeah, there needs to be an alumni that comes in and says like, all right, guys, we ain't doing this shit anymore. Here's $100 million. Let's go get ourselves a quarterback or something. Like,
but that's not even going to, that's not even
I know.
Because the problem is they start trying to pull guys in. You can't even use the Southern California thing because USC is going to steal all the good talent away from them right out of their own backyard.
Road Dog in the chat. There was a pretty good. Okay, pretty good suggestion to turn their practice facilities into a home stadium, kind of like Northwestern. I mean, they might still have a problem filling that up, Road Dog. That's my only concern with that many seats there. And that's the thing. Like, it's why would you go to a game? The team's not good. They're not on the upside. There's nothing really to look forward to. And like you said, Noah, my head immediately went to group of 6, type of a head coach that they're going to need to snag. And it's probably going to need to be a coordinator from one of those schools that they're going to need to snag. My next thought, though, was, wouldn't it be hilarious if Coach O decided to get out of retirement and just wanted to go to LA, go live in LA, go live by the beach?
Fucking going to UCLA, I can tell you that much.
That'd be awesome, though. That'd be awesome.
And then the other thing, too, like, keep in mind this, because I talk about not just the football program, but the athletic department at UCLA as a whole. Remember, this is an athletic department that in basketball was giving away free fucking tickets to U of A UCLA, which is a game that should be $100+ ticket to get into, so that their stadium wouldn't be 50% plus filled with U of A fans.
Yeah, it's wild.
This is the reality of the state of UCLA athletics, and it does not look pretty. And it's not.
No, it doesn't.
And
it wasn't
like it's going to improve anytime soon.
No, and I mean, it was just a couple years ago that one kid with the hair was, causing havoc in the, in March Madness and everything. Like, they were in a good place. Their baseball used to be half decent. It's a damn shame to see where UCLA has really fallen from the graces of athletics. And I mean, it's always kind of been there that UCLA was, they were every once in a while, but they still weren't up to snuff. but it just kind of depended on the sport. I don't know, man. I don't see this getting any better anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe a guy like Billy Napier, who's going to be out of a job soon, maybe is going to be looking for a new position. Wants to stay in that type of a climate.
The only damn draw that head coaching job has is that they play in the Big Ten, and you get to live in Southern California.
Yeah,
like that's the only fucking draw. Otherwise, like you're going to coach a program that's in a shitty position for a shitty athletic department that operates at a deficit. It's just not a good idea
unless football in the Big Ten and they operate at a deficit.
Unless you view it as a 2 or 3 year stepping stone to something else. Like, no, it's not a good job. It's not a good job. Now, if maybe it's a head coach gets fired from another power conference school for not doing very well and goes, well, I want to keep coaching in the Big Ten, so I'll just go to UCLA.
Road Dogg, also, I dare you to find me one location in SoCal that hosts an event that is easy to get in and out of. That will be the day. McCormick, not a fan of Nico, and apparently a big fan of Big Orange, Tennessee, Noah.
Nico, I have forgot your name.
Neo, it doesn't matter anymore. Nico,
I have forgot your name because you're irrelevant.
Dude, I mean, unbelievable. And I mean, that's what's also wild. They were supposed to have their quarterback. They were supposed to, kind of everything was supposed to be going in the right direction. And $1.2 million later, and you're seeing why Tennessee was not willing to pay all that money real quick.
Well, I love how they effectively swapped quarterbacks too, and clearly that's worked out a lot better for Tennessee than it has for UCLA.
Was that like the first unofficial trade of college football?
Yeah, because I don't think you can really call it a trade. I think it just was happenstance that both of them went to each other's schools, but kind of fucking funny. Worked out that way. It's like again, I don't want to call it a trade because it's not a trade, but it's like a little 1-for-1 swap.
It was, and who knows? Maybe there was some behind the scenes action. Maybe in like 5 years we'll be talking about the first actual like college football trade, and we'll be like, well, wait a minute.
I suppose somebody transfers in to take your job. You're like, oh well, I know there's a job open now at that place to take it from.
Oh man. All right, Angel Stadium, fine. SoFi, I haven't been to SoFi, so no comment, but it's in Southern California, so I automatically can't believe that it's easy to get in and out at Road Dogg. I can't wait to be proven wrong.
Well, nice thing about SoFi is it's outside of LA, so.
Oh, that's true. So is that really okay? I guess he did say SoCal, so I'll give you that out, Road Dogg. I'll give you that out. But and it's not a dome, Noah. Don't you forget, SoFi is not a dome.
I never called it a dome.
I know. I'm just saying. We got to remember it's an awning. It can get rained out. Anyway, that was kind of the big thing I wanted to touch on with college football. Are there any head coaches you think we should be looking at that might be getting the axe as soon as this next upcoming week?
Maybe not as soon as this upcoming week. Billy Napier, a guy that definitely keep an eye on. I don't think losing to Miami is going to get him fired. No. He's literally got 6 straight games against fucking ranked opponents in the SEC. So he might hold on to his job for a while, but this might be a week 8, week 9 thing where we're looking at Billy Napier potentially getting fired, depending on what happens. They looked okay against LSU. I mean, a 10-point loss.
Yeah, they look fine.
10-point loss in Death Valley, not bad at all. Not bad at all. But I think Billy Napier will be coaching for his job on a pretty much week-to-week basis this season.
Yeah.
He's going to need to steal 1 or 2 games against decently ranked SEC teams to keep his job through the season. And I do think 2 wins will save it. Like 2 wins in this next 6-7 game stretch will save Billy Napier's job. He just can't go lose his next 6 or lose his next 7 games because then he's going to be out before the season's over.
Oh man, yeah, and even if he does win those 2 games, maybe he saves his job until the season's over, and then they're like, "Hey, man, thanks for that." But
yeah, outside of Billy Napier, I mean, I don't know if there's any names that jump off the paper right now for me. I'm trying to think. I mean,
What about
K-State's
what about
looked absolutely horrible, but
yeah.
given the high expectations, but I'm not worried. I don't think that's a hot seat situation. Now, if they end up going like 3-9 on the season, then it might be a like off-season hot seat type of thing going into next year. Gundy in Oklahoma State could be a name, which I think his tenure there might save him at least through the end of this season. He's just been there forever. They've had so much success, but I mean, with how they performed last year and how they're looking so far this year, Gundy could be a name. Again, not as early as next week, but something to keep an eye on there if Oklahoma State's just getting absolutely shellacked again like they were last year.
Road Dog is saying, shouting out Stoops at Kentucky. You think he's on the hot seat?
I mean, maybe. We'll see. I feel like being the Kentucky football head coach gives you some extra leash because the expectations are so much lower.
Yeah.
But I don't think, to answer your question, AJ, I don't think as soon as next week, I don't see anybody's seat hot enough that they're out in a week. Like, I don't think we're talking about another head coach a week from now, even probably 2 weeks from now getting fired.
I will say, I think we just need to start marking our calendars for week 3 in college football of look for first round of head coach firings. It just seems to be like a week 3, week 4 type thing that has been happening the last couple of years. When you're coaching shit clearly isn't going well.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coaching a power conference school and you lose 3 non-conference games, including 2 to, non-power conference teams, when you get blown out by Old Dominion, obviously the Vandy loss doesn't even really look bad for Virginia Tech, but getting blown out by Old Dominion, not great. If you're UCLA losing to 2 different Mountain West schools, not great. I
can't believe they're in the Big Ten, dude. Oh my God. Oh,
yeah, because like that Utah loss, I mean, you got shellacked if you're UCLA, but that's kind of what we were expecting. And, obviously Vandy, a very good school, but the thing that 2 of them have in common is you get 2 bad losses there.
Yeah, it's not good. Not
granted,
good.
I think Vandy, who else did they lost to another power conference? Like they played 2 power conference, right?
Who?
Virginia Tech.
Well, let me double check. I believe so. They have played South Carolina, Vandy, and Old Dominion. No, they just played Old Dominion.
Yeah. So South Carolina, Vandy, whatever. The Old Dominion was just getting absolutely blown out at home by Old Dominion's what put the nail on that.
Enter Sandman round 2. I mean, with Old Dominion, and then you got they do got Wofford this weekend, so they really wanted to make sure they were up for Wofford.
Yeah, they're going to be 1-3, so that good for them.
Let's see if they can get a win this year while playing. Oh man,
I put all my money on the fact that Virginia Tech beats Wofford. That's how confident I am.
Yeah, that's how confident you are.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's stop talking about teams that don't really matter right now. No, let's get into what does matter, because we all know how serious every AP voter takes this top 25 ranking, Noah. And so let's go ahead and break it down.
Oh, baby. Yeah, because after last week, what do we get this week? We get 3 of them. 3 of them that have South Carolina still ranked and Vandy not in the rankings at all, which is wild. Not 1, not 2, but 3. One of said 3 even moved South Carolina up in the rankings or kept them the same. I don't remember. Either kept them at the same spot or moved them up to.
I think I'm ready to make an official
crazy.
I think I'm ready to make an official declaration, Noah. The AP doesn't know ball.
Well, these guys just
official declaration.
Best thing I saw, I don't remember what it was. I don't remember if I sent it to you, AJ. It was like on the app formerly known as Twitter. It was like a CAPTCHA test for AP voters to be able to submit their ballot, and it was like a grid of 16 teams, and it was like select the teams that won this week.
That's good.
And I'm like,
why
that's
can't I get in my ballot?
And I'm like, yeah, shows you have to pay attention to what was going on in all of the games for the week. And I'm like, that's a great idea. Make them pick that, and if they fail it, then their vote doesn't count for that week.
I love it, dude. I love that. But let's get into it, Noah. A lot of similarities in the top three with Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Miami, and Georgia to round out the top five. I don't got really any issues with the top five, Noah. I think the Georgia getting bumped up might be a little premature. I thought Tennessee played a very good game against them this weekend. I just thought, I don't know, I was expecting a little bit more out of Georgia.
Yeah, it's just funny because it's so fucking arbitrary because Georgia just got bumped down 2 spots last week because they didn't blow out a team by enough points.
True. So is it more of a makeup? I don't know.
You know, it is what it is. Ohio State, Penn State 1-2. That's what I've got in my rankings. I actually wrote them down this week, so I have them. No more. I've got this team around here. I've got them at exact numbers. So I got Ohio State, Penn State. Rounding out, I'm gonna even extend it to 6 there at Oregon. I've got Miami all the way up at 3. They've proven it to me. I think we'll see what happens with Florida. This is going to be the real prove it game for Miami. They're absolutely legit if they beat Florida. But I think USF's a really good team. Miami handled them in absolute dominating fashion.
Yeah.
I've got Georgia up at 4, LSU at 5, and then Oregon at 6. So not much difference between what I got and what the AP's got here. A little bit of slight variation, but I do think a lot of times we do talk about this kind of drop off between, like, you'll have groupings and then there's a drop off. I would say there might even be a drop off between Ohio State and the rest, but I need to see Penn State actually play somebody worth a damn.
Oh, that'd be nice, dude.
To be fully sold on them. The rest of these teams have, not Oregon, but Georgia, Miami, LSU, Ohio State all have. But I do think out of this top 6, which I have the same, just in a little bit different of an order, I do think there is a significant drop-off, at least right now, between the top 6 and the rest of the field.
I couldn't agree more, Noah. So let's go ahead, run through 6 through 10. We've got Oregon with still getting one number 1 vote coming into this week. That's not bad.
Somebody's been on that since the start of the season, and I haven't checked to see if it's the same voter. I assume it is, but I mean, I can't make a case for it. They haven't fucking played anybody. They still haven't played anybody. They won't play anybody. They're playing a 0-3 or 1-2 Oregon State team at home this week. They've been a goddamn 27 or greater favorite in all of their games this season, and will continue to do so until they play Penn State. So that game is going to be so fucking telling. Oregon at Penn State,
awesome. And that's going to end up being a whiteout, right? That's at Penn State. That's at Penn State, 4:30 p.m. kickoff here on the West Coast. Yeah,
it has to be. That's a night game. That's going to be 7:30 over there. That game's going to tell us a lot about Penn State and Oregon, 2 teams that we won't truly know a lot about until they play each other.
True. So what do you got for the rest of your top 10?
My top 10, I got Illinois all the way up at 7. I know they're sitting at 9 right now. This Illini team, I've been beating this drum since the beginning of the season, man. Brett Bielema's got his squad finally together. Very reminiscent of some of those Wisconsin squads that he put together. They play really, really, really fucking tough defense. And I'm really excited for this Illinois-Indiana game. If this was being played at Illinois instead of Indiana, I would say it's a no-brainer. Illinois wins this one. And I do think highly of Cignetti and Indiana, but I think Illinois is special this year. I think they are special. Luke Altmaier is a fantastic fucking quarterback, and pair that with this defense, Illinois I think should be in the college football playoff when it's all said and done. They don't have a particularly difficult schedule, much reminiscent of Indiana from last year. So, yeah, I've got them all the way up at 7. Florida State, I've got all the way down at 13. I think they're getting a little too much praise too early just for beating Alabama. It's just carryover from beating Alabama.
Yeah.
What else was on the AP there? Because I got Oklahoma all the way up at 8.
Oklahoma's at 11. Let me pull it back up. I'm sorry. Let me pull it back
Yeah,
up.
no, I'm extremely high on Oklahoma. I've got them all the way up at 8. I got Texas A&M at 9. They looked really good, even though, goddamn man, that last touchdown for A&M, I counted an offensive holding and potentially a penalty in the secondary as well that were not called. So again, you play the whole football game. One play's not going to decide the entire thing. But I'm just saying, I think there were 2 different flags that could have been thrown on A&M there at the end. All I'm saying, they still won. I'm putting respect on A&M. I'm moving them all the way up to 9 in my rankings. And I got Texas at 10, rounding out my top 10.
Wow.
I almost kept them out of the top 10 completely.
I thought you were going to, honestly.
If I'm being honest, because they are not playing inspiring football for me right now, and maybe they figure it out. But Arch Manning looks good, not great. Texas as a whole kind of looks good, not great right now. We'll see if Sark can get them to looking great at any point this season. Because if they don't, they're going to lose too many games in the SEC with their schedule. Somehow they get probably one of the easiest schedules in the SEC yet again. Don't know how that works out, but. Yeah. Let
me just jump in there real quick, Noah, because I think I'm with you there. I'm borderline keeping Texas out of the top 10 too. Arch, they look good, not great. Arch looks like a very young, unexperienced quarterback who has been sitting on the bench and has just been in special packages the last 2 years. Yeah. And the defense looks fine, but not great. Offense, I mean, they're only putting up 27 points against UTEP. Like, bro, come on. I mean, they got to do better. And so we'll see. We'll see how they do against Sam Houston. I can't believe I'm saying that, but.
Well, that's not going to be telling at all. They're going to blow them out by 50 points, and then everybody's going to be,
But if they don't, okay. So let's say they don't. Let's say they don't blow them out by 50 points. Is that a bad sign?
Yeah, if they beat them by 30, 34, 35, whatever. Yeah, they should move down a few spots. I'm maybe hitting the panic button if they win by less than 30.
Oh, for sure, panic button getting hit if they win by less than 30.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it with this Texas team. I wasn't seeing it last year either. I know they won a lot of games, but they did have, like I said, one of the easiest, if not the easiest, schedules in the SEC last year. And I was calling them frauds going into the playoffs, and then what did they do? Almost fucking lost to ASU.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel any different. It doesn't feel any different this year is my problem with Texas.
And to Road Dog's point,
maybe borderline to get into the college football playoff with an easy schedule. If they had a harder schedule, if they had Florida's schedule, I'd be saying there's no fucking way they're making the college football playoff.
Yeah. I mean, solid defense, Road Dog. We're not going to disagree with that. Like, they haven't allowed a lot of points. That's not the issue. The issue is, we were promised the world with this offense.
It's going to be an issue.
It might be an issue, but I mean, hey, still holding Ohio State to 14 points. That ain't.
They also scored how many points in that game?
7 points. But again, Texas would go on to lose that game. Anyway, we're out of the top 10. Now let's go ahead and move on to 15. AP's got 11 Oklahoma, 12 Iowa State, 13 Ole Miss, 14 Alabama, 15 Tennessee. A lot of movement coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I already talked about Oklahoma. I think they may be back. They look like a well-rounded football team this year. I'm excited to see what they can do. Don't really like Oklahoma, but they look pretty damn dangerous. So they could be fighting for that SEC crown this year, potentially. I've got a team who I've been saying has been disrespected. This is my pick to win the Big 12. I've got Texas Tech sitting at 11 personally. I do have Iowa State right behind him at 12, though.
I like that.
I'm right on par with the AP there. Texas Tech's going to have a real tough matchup ahead of them playing at Utah, but they win that game. If they win at Rice-Eccles in Utah, I mean, put Texas Tech in the top 10.
You got to at that point.
Do yourself a favor. They should not be outside of the top 10 if they win at Utah. But yeah, Iowa State I've got at 12. Like I said, Florida State earlier I talked about at 13. I've got Bama up to 14. Don't know how I really feel about that. And then this might be a little controversial. I do have Notre Dame sitting at 15 despite being a 2-loss team. And here's my reasoning. I think Notre Dame could damn well be 2-0 with wins over Miami, at Miami, and then against Texas A&M. They literally are it's a fucking hairline between being 0-2 and 2-0. And I do think Notre Dame's a very, very legit team. These 2 losses are going to really hurt them as an independent. They're going to have a huge uphill battle to getting back to the college football playoff this year, especially looking at the rest of their schedule. It'll help a lot if USC works their way up the rankings and makes that game more important. But I still got them at 15. I think they're still a really dangerous team. There are some glaring issues with their defense, but their offense had no problem putting up points against really good teams. So I expect Notre Dame will pretty much breeze through most of the rest of their schedule. We'll see a couple months from now if we're talking about them as a playoff team or not.
Yeah, quick question. No, I do just want to bring up the allegations Road Dogg are throwing out. Tech have a easy schedule, bud?
What'd you say?
I mean, does Texas Tech have an easy schedule?
I mean,
looking at it, they got Utah next week at Utah. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
At Houston, home against KU, at ASU, home against Oregon State, at K-State, home against BYU, home against UCF, at West Virginia.
I mean, the schedule, it's the Big 12. You're not going to have an overly tough schedule if you're any team. Texas Tech's schedule actually looked tougher a couple weeks ago than it does now. But I don't think it matters. I mean, this team, again, they went out and spent a shit ton of fucking money. Shit ton of money in NIL and on the transfer portal. And they were not a half bad team last year. I think there's a lot to be excited about. Again, this is going to be the real prove-it game. But if they win this game at Utah, there's no looking back. They shouldn't have an excuse to lose another game probably the rest of the year until the Big 12 championship game. So this is a game Texas Tech's going to have an opportunity to prove themselves. Like I said, they go in, beat Utah, who's looked really good so far this year. I don't see how you keep Texas Tech outside of the top 10. The AP will probably have them up at 12 or 13 because they're going to have, 6 SEC schools ahead of them. But, yeah, I think Tech's the real deal. I do, and this is going to be the prove-it game for them.
All right, well, keeping it moving, Noah. Did we wrap up your top 15?
I wrapped up my top 15, maybe not the AP's top 15.
Yeah, we got through to Tennessee, so let's go into 20. We are looking at AP having Utah at 16, Texas Tech at 17, Georgia Tech at 18, Indiana at 19, Vandy getting all the way up to 20, Noah.
Yeah, getting a little bit disrespected because I think some people are just they just see the name Vandy and they don't want to do anything with it. Now, I got Tennessee at 16. I'm not really dropping them or faulting them too much for losing to Georgia by a field goal in a game where they could have tied it or won it. Tennessee looked pretty good. I'm not worried about them. I got Vandy at 17. Vandy at 17. And I'm sorry, AJ, but did I say this was coming? Oh, man, I've been waiting for the day. I've been waiting for the moment. I was lighting up at this game at South Carolina, which they were dominating before Lenora Sellers goes down with injury. And I had South Carolina fans trying to make excuses about it. It doesn't matter. Your defense looked like shit. You couldn't stop Vandy on the defensive side of the ball. You were turning the ball over like a motherfucker. Watch out. This team looks fucking dangerous. And I know people are looking at their schedule worried about that. I know I tweeted out, I was like, don't be surprised if Vandy's contesting for the SEC with a couple ranked wins. Now, this was before Missouri and Auburn were in the rankings. So they only had 3 ranked teams on their schedule at the time. 3 or 4, whatever it may be. But Vandy's going to be 5-0. Vandy's going to be 5-0 going into Tuscaloosa.
Whew.
And all I got to say for that is Alabama better be quaking in their boots. I don't know what the line's at now. I tweeted out back Saturday night. I was looking at it. They had a line out on the sportsbook. 24.5 points Bama was favored by. 24.5 points. It was plus 1,000, plus 1,100 on the money line for Vandy. And I was like, you better slam this 24.5 right now because Vandy is not going into Tuscaloosa and losing by a goddamn 24 points. I can tell you that. I can guarantee you that much. I am so high on this Vandy team. I love Diego Pavia so much. Dude literally tried to launch a lawsuit to make sure he could come back for this year. I don't know how you don't love that guy if you're a teammate, if you're a fan. And Vandy's trying to do something special this year. Don't be surprised if they win 9 to 10 games. If they win 10 games, I imagine they are fully into the playoff. If they win 9, they're probably on the outside looking in. There's still a chance it is the SEC. So love Vandy there.
College game day in Tuscaloosa for Vandy, Alabama. Whew.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie to you. I did rip the plus 1,000, plus 1,100, whatever it was, for the money line on Vandy because I don't blame you. That's going to be like a plus 350 by the time that game rolls around.
Ooh, Road Dogg thinks Vandy's ruined the SEC chances of getting 4 teams in with the win over SC.
Yeah, but I feel like SC's got problems that we didn't know about on the defensive side of the ball. SC was going to get ruined on their own. They were going to get ruined on their own. And now having Lenora Sellers out for who knows how long.
Yeah. We'll see how they
outlook not looking great for South Carolina at the moment.
No. All right, let's get into the last 5 in, Noah. We've got Michigan at 21, Auburn at 22. I can speak. Missouri at 23, Notre Dame at 24, USC at 25. Out of the rankings, you've got South Carolina, Clemson, and South Florida.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I put together my rankings, AJ. I sent them to you about Saturday night. So before we had the AP rankings in, I ended up with the same top 25 teams, just ordered a little bit differently. After Vandy, I had Utah at 18, Indiana 19, Michigan at 20, Ole Miss down at 21. I know they were ranked significantly higher. Mizzou at 22, USC, who I think is going to be really dangerous actually in the Big Ten this year, at 23, Georgia Tech at 24, Auburn at 25. But I don't know where to start there. Georgia Tech also, Flowers, welcome to the top 25. Do they deserve it? I don't know. That's why I got them down at 24. I didn't think they deserved to burst in that much because Clemson has not looked great. And I think Clemson's going to be they're going to have their hands full yet again this week.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. It is going to be rough for them, but that's not a bad top 25. No, I like yours a hell of a lot better than I like the APs. It shows that you not only watch the games, but you know the wins and the losses and who took those wins and losses. And I think that makes you a really nice informed voter in the AP, Noah. So you've got my vote, bud.
All right. Hey, put me in. We're technically in the media. I don't know if I have valid credentials or anything yet.
How do we get you credentials? There's got to be some form we fill out.
But I think Ole Miss was one of the teams I was the farthest off from the AP on. I think they're up at 13. I got them down at 21. Their 2 one-score games against fellow SEC teams is not striking a lot of confidence into my heart, especially considering those 2 teams are Kentucky and Arkansas. It's not like they had 1-score wins against.
Noah, it's just different down in the SEC. A Kentucky is like, a Michigan in any other conference, Yeah,
we'll see what happens. They're going to have their hands full with Tulane at home this week. Mark my words. They will have their hands full in that game. I do expect them to win that, but they're less than 2 touchdown favorites, and that's for a reason. We'll see what Retzlaff, the former BYU, can do.
Oh, shout out to him.
Now down in Tulane.
Tulane.
Had 4 rushing touchdowns last week against Duke.
It's like he got kicked out of school for, violating a code of conduct or something and not for anything that actually mattered. That's crazy. Anyway, wild stuff. Anything else in the college football world, Noah?
No, actually, I did have one thing. I saw there were some rumors, some stories going around that Notre Dame allegedly came out and said they would be willing to immediately join either the Big Ten or SEC if the college football playoff expands to 16 teams. Is that a reaction to them starting 0-2?
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
no change is going to happen to the playoff this season regardless, but I think they looked themselves in the mirror and said, oh shit, we lost to two really good teams and now we're 0-2 and now our playoff chances are probably below 10-15% because we're 0-2 and we can't make it up with a tough conference schedule.
No,
and so I think they looked themselves in the mirror and said, okay, expand the playoff to 16 teams, which we know just is going to mean more Big Ten and more SEC teams in. And then they're like, we'll pick and choose and join one of the two conferences. Just expand it to 16.
They got to join the Big Ten, right? They can't join the SEC.
Yeah, no, geographically. And the Big Ten's always been the conference that makes sense for Notre Dame. But I also wouldn't put it past them to just be like, fuck it, we're joining the SEC.
Yeah, they probably would get more money from the SEC, but I don't know if that would be worth it. But who knows, man?
It's also with the caliber of program that they are. I would also imagine the SEC is a little bit tougher to get into the playoff with.
And that's why I'm kind of thinking, well, if you're worried about getting into the playoff, just go run the Big Ten, and then every once in a while you got to run into Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, because you got to imagine in a 16-team format, Big Ten, SEC, you're going to have minimum 4 teams in every year. Probably 5 more often than not.
Yeah.
Or each of them are going to have at least 4. One of them is going to have 5. There might be off years where one of them has even 6. And yeah, so for Notre Dame to be like, okay, if you need to just finish top 4 in one of the two conferences every year, the Big Ten's probably easier. I mean, you're going to have Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Michigan are kind of your main competition there versus, I don't know. It feels like the SEC, there's like 2 or 3 different schools that are like really good every year, just randomly.
True. Also true. But sweet. Anything else?
No, that's what I got with my top 25.
Sweet. That's all I got too. You down to take a quick break and then we'll dive into the NFL?
Sure.
Sounds good. Before we do that, just want to take another moment. Shout out to everyone watching here on Rumble, over on YouTube and X. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. I'm the Perfect One, AJ. That's the Money Train Noah. We'll see you guys in a moment.
Yes, sir.
3, 2. And we are back. What's up, D-Gens? Perfect One AJ here with the Money Train Noah as we are ready to get into NFL action, Noah. And I gotta say, we're gonna start off in some other NFL news, though, Noah, because it seems no matter how hard we try to get away from the Tom Brady experience, he just pulls us right back in. Because Tom Brady is technically coming out of retirement to play flag football in a Saudi flag football championship game or something like that.
Did you check the sources on this one?
Huh?
So did you check your sources on this one? Who posted that shit?
Adam Schefter.
Oh, well, don't trust him.
Ian Rappaport.
Okay, do trust him.
Tom Pelissero. You want me to keep going on everyone who covered this? I mean, like, this seems to be seriously legit. Not only Tom Brady being a part of this, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Max Crosby, Rob Gronkowski, Sauce Gardner, and others are playing in the Fanatics Flag Football Classic in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That being taken place, I believe, next March. Yeah, March 21st, 2026. And Noah, there's not just an all-star roster playing, Noah. You want to hear some of these head coaches that are announced? Yeah, Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, and Kyle Shanahan.
Damn. Okay.
And that's all that's announced so far. But the way I look at it, Noah, it's two things. And both of them are kind of scary. One of them not scary for us. The second one kind of scary for us. Number one, if this is our practice squad for the Olympics, y'all should be scared. I'm just going to leave that there because Tom Brady ain't going to start for us. I think we should go ahead and start there. Tom Brady ain't going to start for us, but it's a good way to test out the receivers, test out our defense, getting some action out there. I like that, kind of mentality for maybe scouting the team a little bit, seeing them on 7-on-7 like this.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I am of the opinion that I don't think we're going to see too many, if any, NFL players playing in flag football in the Olympics. Because have you watched the fucking professional flag football? Yeah. If you take the hitting and the physical aspect out of the game, I mean, I don't think there's too many. I think it's a short list of NFL players who can compete with these guys in a flag football environment with some of these guys, the way that they move. And it's the same sport, but it's also kind of a different sport. And
you don't think there's going to be we're just going to throw out our all-stars?
I think if you hold actual tryouts for a U.S. Olympic team, I think there's going to be more flag football players than NFL players that make that final roster cut.
Ooh, that'll be interesting. My other kind of concern with this, Noah, is that, the last time the Saudis gave a lot of money to a lot of professional athletes that played for an American league. First of all, those athletes got obliterated on social media, just obliterated on social media and the news and everything. But that being aside, they ended up starting their own league. And with the golf stuff, it did kind of start off like this, like, oh, we want to host an event in Riyadh. Oh, we want to host this other event, this special event in Riyadh. We want to do something and then live golf. And so that's one of my other concerns is that we are going to maybe see a multi-billion-dollar flag football league pop up. And I don't know if it would change anything. I think as, Americans and as NFL fans, we still like the hitting and it's still a different sport, as you mentioned. But
it would be a backup plan for washed college or NFL players who need some outlet. Like it's a non-factor. Golf a little bit different because it's an individual sport.
Sure.
NFL ain't going anywhere. NFL is not going anywhere.
All right. That was just my two thoughts on that situation with Tom Brady. And believe it or not, Noah, this was a weekend full of situations with Tom Brady because, as you know, he does call games as well now, and he does. I think we can both agree. Just an absolutely incredible job. Wouldn't change a thing. Everything You know what I mean? But that wasn't his only work in a booth this weekend. No. He was caught Monday Night Football, being up in the Raiders offensive coordinating box. And it was reported on the broadcast, even though they might try to get rid of it, that Tom Brady and Chip Kelly do get together a couple of times a week and talk ball, talk game plan, et cetera, I thought the D-backs were about to tie it up. Sorry, we're in a playoff hunt right now. But I don't know, dude. I don't know. It is such a sticky situation with Tom Brady being a partial owner of the Raiders, with him then working for Fox to cover the sports and the access he has and everything. But he's allowed to do it because it is Tom Brady. And I do think this is a little bit of just Brady privilege. I think another player comes around and tries to do that. I don't think this happens, but what, you're going to look at Tom Brady and tell him no? Do you know how many Super Bowls he won? Do you know how much money he's brought into this league? Do you know? And that's kind of what's going on here. I think it's the Brady thing.
Yeah, granted, it didn't really matter that much. Chargers were in absolute control, so whatever inside scoop Brady has didn't seem to really benefit the Raiders very much.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I think the only thing that comes into play is with his announcer role, getting some of this inside information, inside scoop, and then maybe that being a conflict of interest conversation. However, yeah. I don't think at this point it's that big of a factor. Maybe if the Raiders start winning more games, people are going to start raising more eyebrows, but
I think what people are worried about is, like next week, Brady is calling whoever the Bears are going to lose to. And then that next week, the Raiders play.
Whoever the Bears are going to what to?
Lose to, Noah. The Bears still suck, okay? I've been screaming that from the mountaintop. I said it at the beginning of the season, I ain't going to get hyped for this bullshit this year. And I haven't. That was one hell of a drive, though. That was one beautiful drive. That opening drive. I'm going to hold on to that drive for a long time. I want you to know that.
Yeah. Hey, first quarter of week 1 champions.
And by the way, we haven't won a game since last season. Do you happen to know who the last game we won was, though? Huh?
You mean
who did we play? Who did we play?
You mean the game Packers had nothing?
What was the logo on the side of the helmet? Because that's all that matters. What was that logo on the side of the starting quarterback's helmet? What was it? It didn't say "Go Dogs."
Okay, AJ, I'll tell you. It was the Packers in a game where the Packers were locked into the 7 seed and had nothing to play for, and the Bears still needed a last-second field goal to win that game. May I tell you? And you,
we wanted to give you guys a chance. We wanted to give you guys a chance.
You Bears fans are still holding on to this like it's your fucking Super Bowl. Not even a Super Bowl. Like, I don't even know what's a step above a Super Bowl.
We won a football game.
You beat the Packers in Lambeau Week 17. Who the fuck cares?
In Lambeau.
The Packers were guaranteed the 7 seed, regardless of if they won or lost that game. It didn't fucking matter.
I don't care.
And you still almost lost that game.
We walked in the house, we took the house, and we won. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Anyway, they're in such a bad spot. They look so bad at football, dude.
Something that happens like once a decade. You win in Lambeau.
I believe we talk a lot about a saying about a blind squirrel, Noah. So I get it, dude. I get it. Before we get into the games, Noah, and everything, the last thing I do want to talk about is something that you and I have spent at length talked about with the former Super Bowl winners, Philadelphia Eagles. The fact that fuck off, Road Dog. That just hurts, dude. That hurts. Okay. The Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champions, and their beloved tush push, Noah, the brotherly shove, call it anything you want to. It's a play where 99.99% of the times there's offsides, false starts, encroachment, lining up in the neutral zone, illegal contact. I mean, you open the rule book and point your finger, you can find that rule being broken on this play, it feels like. And NFL, they didn't want to hear it this weekend. They just didn't want to hear it this weekend. And so they went around, threw a bunch of copyrights at people and got all of that film. A lot of it at least tried to get scrubbed from the internet. And Sirianni pretty much came out and said, call it or don't. We don't care. We're going to keep running it until you call it. And I mean, he also talks about how, it's slowed down, so it's not at full speed. You don't hear the snap count and yada, yada. I think it's all bullshit, Noah. I originally wasn't. They just need to start throwing flags because, yes, this is such a dominant play, and it shouldn't be banned for being a dominant play, but it should be officiated like any other play. And whether that is expanding replay to go ahead and detect false starts or not, I mean, I really don't want to get that nitpicky, but when it is a quarterback sneak or something like that and they can implement that, I don't know, but something's got to be done.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, and I've always said this, and I haven't changed my opinion once on this. I have no problem with the play. I have no problem with the way that the Eagles run it because it's like there is a flag that can be thrown on the play every single time that the Eagles run it. And whether you want to call offensive linemen for lining up in the neutral zone, offsides, false starts on the guards, that typically happens where they'll move before the ball moves. I have no problem with the aspect of the play of pushing the quarterback forward. That's all fine and dandy. Fine. It's just the Eagles, they line up offsides and then they still jump. And then, of course, you're going to gain a yard if you, line up over the ball and then are jumping before the defense does anyways. So all I'm begging is don't ban the play. Don't ban the play. There's no reason to ban the play. I think the play is perfectly fine. Start throwing flags on these motherfuckers who are lined up 6 to 12 inches over the ball.
And that's what blows my mind more than anything. The clear way to stop what's happening is just to throw a flag on the play. And everyone's acting like it's so hard to see it, yada, yada, yada. It's not. And these officials...
The line judge should be able to see a full helmet over the
every
football.
Single time. And these refs love throwing flags. I mean, there are some times you cannot get them to stop throwing flags, and they decide to just throw the rule book at both teams. Why the hell haven't these officials, especially like in the Super Bowl or these big games when it's these big stages and they can have that moment of being the official who cracked down on the Eagles and everything? Like, why are all of these guys all of a sudden just can't find their flags? It makes no sense to me.
And here's the thing, it's still going to be an effective play.
Yes, even they just run it. Yeah.
Yeah, the center and the guards might have to line up 6 to 12 inches farther back than they are right now, which then that's just an extra 6 to 12 inches that the runner's going to have to gain on it, and you can't get that false start jump, so maybe it's going to be slightly less effective. But I still imagine, Eagles are converting that at 92-point-something%. Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's not going to affect it that much.
Yeah, rest of the league only 12% lower. The Eagles do it better than anybody else. They probably cheat more than anybody else. That's the problem. Is all these other guys are like, oh wait, I'm lined up offside.
Yeah.
I'll start. But the league average on this play on 1 yard or less is 80%. The Eagles just are at like 92-point-something. It's still a very effective play. I do feel like most other teams who try to run this play are following the rules of the game and lined up offsides, and that's why the Eagles have that 12% edge over the league average, is because they're literally like cheating. Cheating's not the right word. They're just lined up offsides and it's not getting called. They're false starting and it's not getting called. But literally throw a couple 5-yard penalty flags on them on a 4th and 1, and they're real quick going to stop lining up offsides and false starting.
Real quick. Real quick.
2, 3, 4 flags in one game, and all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, wait, shit, the refs are calling this now, and they're going to have to reevaluate things with the way that they run that play. I don't think they're going to move off of it. I have no problem with the running back, a tight end, even 3 people pushing the quarterback forward. I think that's totally fine and okay. Just don't allow the half or more of the offensive line to line up offsides and then jump early.
No, don't allow it. Don't allow it. And let's go ahead and get into that game first, Noah. Chiefs win the rematch 20-17. Jalen Hurts not needing to do much, 15-22, 101 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions in the air. Saquon Barkley running in, he had himself a day, 22 attempts, 88 yards, touchdown. Not too shabby, Noah. The Travis Kelce interception was funny. I did find a little joy in that. I don't know why I found joy in that. I feel like just because it was such a simple play and it felt like the Chiefs were going to chief and do that thing where they just take over a game and then they didn't. And we're just seeing the polar opposite of what the Chiefs have been. And I mean, I'm at the point I'm going to start I'm benching Travis Kelce in all my fantasy leagues. I'm done with it, dude, until they start showing it. Yes, the offense is injured like it has been the last couple of years, but I mean, part of that is their own fault. And the other one is definitely the other guy's fault for not playing. He's suspended 6 games. And I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to be too little too late for the Chiefs when everyone gets back and healthy. They're 0-2 going in. We always talk about how you don't want to start 0-3 especially, but looking at 0-2 right now, if you're a Kansas City Chiefs, you may start to worry a little bit, no, and I think it's warranted.
Yeah, I think Chiefs will still make the playoffs.
Probably.
But I don't really. I'd be betting heavy against them make it a Super Bowl run this year, and I say probably make the playoffs because there is enough doubt in my mind that they don't. The Eagles should figure to be a really good team, and the Chiefs very well had an opportunity to win this game. So, I'm not downgrading that necessarily.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts did absolutely goddamn nothing this game.
He hasn't done really much the last 2, though.
But he didn't turn the ball over, so that's
a big thing.
Yeah, Eagles get out of this one. It feels like the Chiefs are they're going to win a lot of games against not great teams.
Yeah.
But the Chargers had their number week 1. The Eagles go into Arrowhead, sneak out a win, which honestly this game could have gone both ways. It really could have. Mahomes has looked good, not great so far this year. Once he gets Rashee Rice back, does that open up the offense a little bit more? Because these receivers have been getting absolutely no fucking separation. And play calling, I think you got to look at the offensive play calling too. And they do have Matt Nagy doing that, which is probably the biggest issue with this Chiefs team right now.
Never helped anyone, that's for sure.
In my opinion, probably the biggest issue is they have fucking Matt Nagy calling the offensive plays. They had him last year. Their offense did not look great last year. I worry about that a little bit. But I do think there are more than one glaring issues with the Chiefs right now. And unless some of those get addressed, this is going to be a team that's going to they don't look like they're going to win their own division this year.
No.
Because the Chargers have looked real nice. The Raiders look okay. The Broncos have looked a little bit disappointing, if I'm being honest. I expect the Broncos to finish last in the division, which is crazy because I did not coming into the season when we're 2 weeks in. And now I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see the Broncos finishing last in this division. But I don't know if the Chiefs can surmount the Chargers, the way the Chargers have played through 2 weeks versus the way the Chiefs have looked through 2 weeks.
Yeah. Not looking good. Not looking good if you're a Chiefs fan, Noah. But let's talk about a team where it's definitely you got to be feeling pretty good, Noah, and that is your Green Bay Packers hosting the Commanders. They last Thursday, they go ahead and just take a nice one, 27-18. Love looking pretty good, 19 for 31, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I'll take that all night long. Josh Jacobs with 23 attempts for 84 yards and a touchdown. Tucker Kraft put in absolute work in that game. I mean, just absolute work in that game. 6 receptions, 124 yards, touchdown. Shout out Romeo Dobbs, too. Commanders didn't look bad. Jaden Daniels, it's coming out that he is questionable going into Sunday with a sprained knee, I believe. So going to be keeping an eye on injury reports for that. But, I mean, I don't hold this loss that much against the Commanders, Noah. I've seen enough with the Packers. Like, there are 3 teams in my mind that are pretty much capable of winning a Super Bowl as of everything stands right now, and the Packers are one of those teams. And I'm not just gassing you up, bro. Like, I truly think like they passed the eye test in all three phases of the game. Some stuff you probably want to clean up if you really want to start getting into it. But I don't know. No, this is a team that I think is going to control the game from the get-go and continue to do that throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean we're 2-0. We've dominated two very good football teams. Like that's the thing, right? And I know there's a ton of people talking about the Packers as like potential Super Bowl favorites at this point. They're third in the odds behind. Well, actually, they're tied second. They're behind Buffalo, tied with Baltimore for the second best odds now. I have the best odds to win the NFC. This defense has been strangling two very explosive offenses.
Yeah.
Lions couldn't do anything. The Commanders couldn't do anything. 3 touchdowns allowed, all 3 in garbage time. Keep in mind. Like that's the thing, right? 3 touchdowns allowed, all 3 in garbage time. The Lions got 1 touchdown in garbage time. The Commanders got 2 touchdowns in garbage time when they were already down 20 plus in the fourth quarter. This defense, this pass rush, holy shit, and there's a lot of players to it. And it's not just Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons was the key piece to unlock what's going on here. I mean,
yeah,
you combine Micah Parsons with Rashawn Gary on the other side, and then you got Quay Walker and Edrin Cooper. And this, I think, Packers' youngest team in the league, this is the fastest defense in the league. This is the fastest defense in the league, and they're running to the ball and they're playing hard, which you don't always see, right? You could have all the talent, all the speed, and if guys aren't running to the ball every single play, it may not work out the way you want it to. And so that's been the most impressive thing for me. The offense looks comfortable. It looks fine. I'm not worried about it. But, get past 2 really good teams, and now on the schedule, you talk about the next 4 games against the Browns, Cowboys, the Bengals without Joe Burrow, and then spacing on what the other one is. But, it's – I'm trying not to buy too much into it right now because I get it. Like, I want to be a little bit skeptical in the back of my mind, but you look at the upcoming schedule, and there's no reason this team can't be 8-0 going into a matchup against Philly in Green Bay.
No reason at all. No reason at all. And no, I'm glad you brought up Joe Burrow. Let's talk about that game next. Bengals do hold on even with the injury to Joe Burrow, 31-27 against this Jacksonville team. Joe Burrow confirmed that he will be having surgery on his turf toe, should be out for 3 months, more than likely a season-ending injury, unless the Bengals keep going in the same direction they're going in now.
Well, they're 2-0 and they're in first place, so...
Yeah, 2-0 and in first place. You got Browning coming up next week against the Vikings. Not going to be seeing J.J. McCarthy as he's going to be out too. Going to be seeing, what's his face? Carson Wentz with the Vikings, which, I mean, Carson Wentz with J.J.? Ooh. But, no, I mean, Bengals defense looks rough. O-line looks like shit. It's everything we kind of predicted this Bengals team to be, Noah. And I hate to say this, but in the back of my mind, like, especially after watching week 1 and, some of the preseason, it was like, how long can this O-line keep Joe Burrow healthy? Like, how long can Joe Burrow stay healthy? And I mean, don't get me wrong, being out for any amount of time is bad. I'm a little happy it's turf toe. I know it's not good and it's a lot worse than it sounds, but better that than another broken femur or, a broken hip, broken shoulder, yada, yada, yada. I mean, this guy's been hit more than Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck retired because he got hit so much. And I'm worried that we're looking at kind of the similar thing with Joe Burrow. And he's kind of stuck in Cincinnati. I don't know. I mean, I bet a lot of teams would have no problem paying that contract, but I don't see the Bengals wanting to trade him. And so, I don't know, man. It's a bad spot to be in if you're a Bengals fan.
Yeah, and oddly enough, as somebody who has had turf toe before, which is it's such an innocent sounding injury.
That's why I said it sounds worse than it. I mean, it sounds not as bad as it is.
Yeah, no, That shit hurts so bad. I
Yeah.
legit thought I broke my big toe when I got turf toe. And then I went in, had it looked at, and they're like, "Oh, it's just a bad sprain," and like yada yada. And then I got it looked at again, and I couldn't. I could barely walk. Like I could barely walk on that foot. It's a nasty ass fucking injury. I'm glad he's having surgery right away because I never got surgery on it, and it still flares up from time to time.
Mm.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but we'll see. I think they're okay in the hands of Jake Browning. I do think he's one of the better backups in the league. Bengals have been inquiring on quarterbacks. They did offer the Packers a 6th round pick for Malik Willis, which the Packers quickly declined. I was doing some reading, and apparently the Packers were looking for a 2nd round pick for Malik Willis.
Jesus.
Which I think is fair. We've seen what he's done in Jordan Love's absence last year. The Packers were not willing to give up that caliber of a backup and then have a scrub as backup to Jordan Love for less than a 2nd round pick. If the Bengals were willing to cave, I think the Packers might have gotten it done for like a 3rd.
Maybe.
But it does seem like talks are heating up between the Bengals and the Giants for Jameis Winston to come in.
Give me Jameis in there. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I know the public, the social media, it's all going crazy. The thought of potentially having Jameis paired up with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, because that's just going to be a wild fucking show.
Just run, just go, just all go routes. I'll just eat it, and we'll see how this goes. Don't get it, baby.
You know what? If the Bengals don't bring anybody else in, though, I think they are in okay hands with Jake Browning.
Yeah. No, and I'm not, and again, I'm not dogging Jake Browning at all, but I think, Noah, it is a reasonable thought to have of, all right, well, Joe Burrow last 2 weeks behind this O-line. How long's Browning going to last? And then the next guy, and then. Yeah. Like, I hate to say it, but this O-line has been such a liability for such a long time that the fact that they haven't really done shit about it, I know they quote unquote rebuilt it last year. It's the 3rd time they've rebuilt it in as many years. I mean, it's not working, and I get it. It's hard to get a solid O-line, but you got a Ferrari in the garage. You're not going to cover it with a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's terrible, but
no, I mean, but here's the reality of it, right? They got a good chance of being 3-0.
Yeah.
Next week, and so I don't think Burrow's out for the season. They're saying probably 3-month recovery time. Mid-December is what we're looking at for him coming back. If this Bengals team's in playoff position, he's going to come back, and I very much think they could be in playoff position. They should be at the very least, if they're not still holding on to first place in that division, which I don't think they will, because I think Baltimore will overtake them. But given the way the Steelers' defenses look, given the way the Browns have looked, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bengals sit in 2nd in that division by the time we're mid-December, and with a slightly winning record, and Joe Burrow able to come back and lead that team into the playoffs, and then potentially do something special in the playoffs, you know?
Yeah, I think it, like you said, it all kind of revolves around, are they in playoff position, or are they in the hunt? What does it look like? But can I tell you one team we're not going to be seeing in the playoffs?
What's that?
Jacksonville. I'm out, dude.
So?
I don't, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm out on Trevor Lawrence. I've been beating that drum for so long, dude, and I'm not seeing it, man. He had a fine game, 24 for 42 and 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But that's
how many drop passes? How many drop passes?
I know there were a lot of drop passes. I'm not
specifically because one of those interceptions was as a direct result of a drop pass, and then almost had another interception from a drop pass.
Yeah, but did have 2 interceptions overall. I mean, at the end of the day, even if I know it's a bad stat because those tips and everything do count, but at the end of the day, it is a stat. And I don't know, man. I don't think Jacksonville can get it done. I think I don't know if it's a Trevor Lawrence issue. I don't know if it's a system issue, but this team isn't doing it for me and ain't passing the test for me.
Yeah, and your number 4 overall pick is mid as fuck, and I think this game really put a light on him. He was Travis Hunter struggled to get separation on his receiving routes, and when they did put him in on defense, he was a liability, ultimately costing him the game. I don't agree with that pass interference call necessarily, though.
No.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that his defensive snaps, he was a liability. That was just kind of the cherry on top. Again, I didn't think that particular play warranted a flag for interference. I thought he turned his head around. He was playing the ball. But I'm not going to excuse the other plays because I mean, and he was also in a position where he was trailing the wide receiver, which is going to garner more flags generally. I did think he got his head around and played the ball just fine, and I don't think that should have been pass interference. But he was a liability on the defensive side of the ball, and he's not that great on the offensive side of the ball.
No.
Like he's teetering in that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 territory from what I've seen from him in 2 weeks, which is all fine and dandy. He's going to be in the league. He's going to be fine because he's going to be a good enough wide receiver to stay on an NFL roster. But man, this dude is a liability on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't see that changing.
They need to pick or choose.
The NFL is much faster than college football. And I think that's where he got away with a lot of things was his speed in college football. And now that you got guys who are bigger, more athletic, and faster in the NFL, he looks like a fucking liability on the defensive side of the ball, and he cannot create quite as much separation on most of his routes on the offensive side of the ball. Looks like a fine wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. But when BTJ is not performing, and then you have Travis Hunter as your 2, De'Ami Brown looked like the best receiver in this game for Jacksonville, and he dropped a touchdown pass that went right off his hands, and then BTJ drops 2. Jacksonville should have won this game. They should have won this game. There were a lot of drops. Trevor Lawrence played a really good game. One of the 2 interceptions was not even his fault. I think Liam Cohen's a really good offensive mind. I think it's going to be fine in Jacksonville. Bashal Tutin really had his coming out game, and I think which is really funny. Everyone's like, oh, Bigsby's gone. ETN owners celebrating. And I'm like, not so fast.
No.
They drafted 2 rookie running backs they really liked, and so they got rid of Bigsby. That doesn't mean ETN's the number 1. I mean, he is for now, but don't be surprised if Bashal Tutin takes over as the number 1. He got in with a touchdown, and I expect by about midpoint of the season, he's going to be running back 1 in Jacksonville. He's so quick, so talented. These receivers need to figure it out a little bit. I think Trevor's been playing just fine. But and this Liam Cohen offense will click. It will click at some point. I do worry about Jacksonville's defense a lot. I worry about their defense a lot. They even got carved up when Browning came into the game. They did not have an answer for Jamar Chase whatsoever. And there's enough talented receivers in this league that they will be going up against that if they can't just lock in and stop a wide receiver 1, they're going to have some issues. They're going to have issues.
They will have issues. Noah, let's keep it moving. Browns, Ravens. Ravens it looked like a back to normal type game for them. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's shake off that tight loss on Sunday Night Football, and let's go out there and curb stomp the Bengals 41-17. And Joe Flacco didn't look all that bad. I mean, 25 for 45, 199 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Game got out of hand. Hey, let's see what the third rounders got. Throw Dylan Gabriel out there, 3 for 3, 19 yards, and a tutty. Not too shabby for the 6-rounder, but
yeah. Well, and interesting enough, that does tell me that Gabriel is above Shedeur Sanders on the depth chart.
For sure.
That's my only takeaway with the Browns from this game is Gabriel is above Sanders on the depth chart. If you were really excited about Samson on your team, if you were like me and drafted Ford in one of your leagues, I know he had an okay game just because he had like 5 or 6 catches, which really only helps in PPR. But Quinshon Judkins getting more work than the 2 of them. who was, unsigned free agent until last week. And Judkins looks like he may be running back one, but this also may be a running back room that it changes every single week. I wouldn't put a lot of money on any of these running backs to do anything consistently. Flacco, I think, did enough to keep his job for starting job for at least one more week.
For sure.
But yeah, Ravens they picked off, offense picked up right where it left off last week.
Hold on. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, offense picked up right where it left off last week, and defense just got to go against the Browns instead of the Bills. That's the big difference here.
Okay.
Ravens have a lethal offense. They're really good. I don't know what else to say, but their defense may be a little bit of a liability. We'll see.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about the Ravens too. I think Joe Flacco actually has his job for probably 4 or 5 more weeks. The upcoming schedule for the Ravens, for the Browns, you got Green Bay next week at Lions, home against the Vikings, at Steelers, and then home against the Dolphins.
That's a brutal 3-game stretch. And if the Steelers defense figures it out by the time they play them, then it's a brutal 4-game stretch against defenses.
And Tomlin against rookies. Let's not forget Tomlin against rookies if they throw him in Pittsburgh.
I agree, because if you're circling one game on your calendar that you want to roll out one of your rookie quarterbacks to give them their first career start, it's that Dolphins game.
Yeah.
So you're going to let Flacco go the next 4 games.
Yeah.
Unless Pittsburgh's defense continues to look problematic and like shit, which has mainly been issues against the run game. It's mainly been issues against the run game. So I don't know that really impacts too much. But, you're probably letting Flacco go 3 to 4 more weeks. And then that Dolphins game is probably the one you got circled on your calendar to be like, all right, this is the game we're going to roll out Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. Or if you're Stefanski and you still have your job at that point, you just say, all right, we're going to alternate drives the first half. We're gonna have Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel alternate drives, and whoever's playing better is getting the whole second half, and we're gonna see what happens there.
I mean, that would be damn near impossible for anyone to game plan against. So I kind of love that idea. I kind of love that. Maybe give the offense a boost. Let's keep it moving. This was an interesting game here. Cowboys, Giants. Cowboys get a win at Jerry World, 40-37. Going to overtime, Noah. First overtime game of the season. And it's because Russell Wilson decided to go 30 for 41 and 450 yards for 3 touchdowns and an interception. I mean,
best game of his career.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean,
statistically, best game of his career.
450 yards. I mean, if there was one game I didn't have circled on my calendar this week as a shootout, it was Giants at Cowboys. And we had an overtime thriller. Brandon Aubrey's got to go out there with barely any time left on the overtime clock and nail one to send it home. I mean, wild stuff out of this. The biggest thing I learned from both of these teams was they might put up a lot of points against bad defenses, but they're both bad defenses. That's for damn sure. This is going to be a rough year for both teams.
Yeah, interesting with the Cowboys, too. I was expecting more of a beatdown from the Cowboys in this one, considering how the Giants looked week 1, considering that the Cowboys actually tempered Philly's offense pretty well. And I'm thinking Philly's offense might be a little bit less explosive this year than they were last year. And so
I would agree.
I know it's early. It's been 2 weeks. We'll see what happens. Woof, Dallas, they really tried to kill my 7-leg parlay that I had that did end up hitting. I hit a 7-leg parlay this week. I also went 11 went 11 and 5 ATS this week. So I had a really good week with my picks. My parlay was all money lines. Wasn't anything super crazy, but I had Dallas, San Francisco, the Rams, the Bengals. Dallas, San Francisco, New England, Philly, Atlanta, Arizona, and the Chargers. So Dallas tried to screw this one up real early. I I was sweating this overtime big time. But man, what a fucking shootout!
What a game.
It gives me a little hope with the Giants. Maybe. I'm not really sure, but I don't know what to make of the Cowboys. They looked a hell of a lot better week 1 against the Eagles in Philly than they did at home against the Giants.
Yeah.
And so I really don't know what to make of the Cowboys at the moment. I'm going to hold off judgment for one more week. They do play at the Bears this next week, which is going to be a real telling game, I think, for both teams. Because if the Cowboys go in there and they beat the Bears by 2-3 touchdowns, I think it's safe to say the Cowboys are a okay team.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
If they go into Chicago and lose to the Bears, I'm kind of completely off the Cowboys and I'm still not on the Bears. And I'm going to be like, oh, this was a win of two shitters here. I don't know. And then maybe I'm a little more down on Philly. I don't know. But we're so early in the season. It's hard to say what's going on. Obviously, you've got some phenomenal receivers in this game who absolutely fucking showed out in Malik Neighbors and CeeDee Lamb. Just both of them having what I would say career days, except for both of them have done this before and will continue to do so. So it was a fun game. It was a really fucking fun game, which I did not really wasn't expecting this to be one of my favorite games of the week coming in.
No, not at all. Let's move to my least favorite game of the week, Noah. Bears take the beat down from the Lions after the Lions lost week 1, 52-21. My biggest takeaway from this game, Noah, Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell do not like each other. That was not a good breakup whatsoever. Quick little dap up. They still shook hands, but very quick interaction from guys that were in the trenches together for a long time. Didn't even go and say hi to Jared Goff or any of the guys. But let's be real. Ben Johnson looks absolutely miserable. He looks like any Chicago Bears coach 2 games in. There was a meme floating around of, President Bush getting in and then 8 years after, Obama getting in and then 8 years after, and then Ben Johnson and then 2 games into the Bears season. I mean, identical. It's scary, but Caleb threw for 207 yards and it didn't mean shit. Like 2 touchdowns and an interception. It's a bad team, Noah. It's a bad football team. Lions felt more like they were just exercising demons, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, no, the Lions got embarrassed week 1. And Dan Campbell's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And none of that has changed.
No.
And so Dan Campbell said, we're going to play at home against the Bears, and we're going to go up 30 points, and I'm going to keep my starters in. I'm going to keep all of my starters
keep
in
going.
for the entire fourth quarter when we're up 30-plus points because fuck you. I feel bad about last week because I got embarrassed last week, and so now I'm going to take it out on your ass.
And he did. I respect it.
This was, I got stood up at the bar by a girl out of my league who I hooked up with once because she, was drunk and gave me the good graces, and that's the Packers is the pretty girl who gave him the good graces. And then he got stood up, and then he got really upset, and then went to his ex and just started a fight and got verbally abrasive with it. And that's what this situation was Dan Campbell got absolutely embarrassed. The reporters dug into it. And so Dan Campbell came out this week and said, all right, fuck you, Bears. I don't care that we're up 31 points. I'm sending Goff and Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs and our entire first-string offense and defense still on the field in the fourth quarter up 30 points, which makes absolutely no sense, but it's also not out of character for Dan Campbell to do this.
Not at all.
He's done this since he took over with the Lions. It's one of the things that has pissed me off in the past about him, and it still does because there's no fucking reason for it. He is going to eventually have a star player get injured in a game that's up 30 points. It will happen. And then people are going to be like, what the hell? And I'm going to be like, I've been beating this drum for fucking ever. He has not gotten bit by the bullet yet, but he has lived so close to the bullets. It's only a matter of time.
It will be.
It's only a matter of time. There is no reason up 31 points in the fourth quarter to have your starting lineup in on offense or defense.
I do just want to say, as a Bears fan, I personally have no problem with it. Like, that was well deserved. We needed that.
But yeah, that was whatever. Classic Dan Campbell beat down, leaving his starters in way too long, going for it every single fucking time on fourth down. I know Ben Johnson got asked about that, and he basically was like, "Yeah, it's Dan Campbell. Of course he went for it on fourth down. Like, are you surprised?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this guy's been around him enough time to know that Dan Campbell is just a fucking asshole the way he calls a game." And again, he's skated by just fine, and
I know
it is only a matter of time though until like a Jared Goff or a Jahmyr Gibbs or Amon Ra or somebody important on the defensive side is going to get injured in a game where they're up 20 or 30 points in the fourth quarter, and then people are going to start asking questions. And I don't know why they're not asking questions already, because there's no need for that. You don't need to win 51 or 52 to 21. You don't need to do.
But that looks pretty cool.
But his ego got hurt week one. His ego got hurt week one, so he had to come out and do this week two.
I have no problem with it. I think it's awesome. I do think it's awesome. And, well, one team that probably won't run up the points, but they'll have an opportunity to later this week is the Buffalo Bills, because they will be going to play the Miami Dolphins, who took an L to the New England Patriots. Drake May looking solid, 19 for 23, 230 yards. Tua Tagovailoa, 26 for 32, 315. Not too shabby, 2 touchdowns and an interception for Tua. It looked like the Dolphins maybe getting back on pace, maybe getting back in the right direction. And then the Patriots say, nah, you're going to be 0-2 to start the season. We're going to fuel more fire, fuel more speculation. And I don't know, man. I've been saying it since the beginning of the year. I think there's a lot of issues with this Dolphins team. I've said that when the whole Stephon Diggs thing was happening with the Bills. It doesn't feel like a good situation. It feels like something that does need to get blown up, or at least some pieces need to get replaced. I don't know if you want to start with the head coach or Tyreek Hill or whatever, but Dolphins, this iteration of the Dolphins doesn't seem long for the NFL. Whereas the Patriots, I mean, solid win. Way to get it started. Get one under your belt. Mike Vrabel's first win as a head coach. Patriots' first win against Tua in forever. And so, shout out.
Yeah, no, Patriots look decent. Dolphins, I do want to touch on Tyreek Hill. I think he's finally gotten to the point where his speed can no longer make up for his shitty route running.
Yeah.
And he's always been a shitty route runner. But he's just been so fast that he finds the pockets in like zone defense and everything. He's still very, very, very fast. Don't get me wrong. But I think his speed has fallen off enough at his age that he can no longer make up for being a shitty route runner. And if he wants to prolong his NFL career more than the next 2 to 4 years, he's going to have to figure out how to run better routes.
Yeah. And
be a more complete wide receiver, which he's not. He is not. Otherwise, he's just going to turn into Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you know? Yeah, a lot of problems with the Dolphins. Don't expect a lot out of them. I do think, they're going to be not a good team. Patriots get a win here. Achane looks great. It's kind of the only real positive mark. Waddle got a touchdown. He looks okay. And then, on the flip side, just staying in the same division, AJ, you're talking about the Bills because they play them next week. Unlike the Lions, the Bills took their foot off the gas after they were beating a team into a fucking oblivion. And
hold on. Do you think Baby Gronk runs better routes?
I think Baby Gronk needs to not be a thing.
But does he run better routes than Tyreek Hill?
I don't think Baby Gronk has played a snap of football in his life, if I'm being completely honest.
I'm kind of with you. I don't think he plays flag.
I think he's just a media personality. Has anybody actually seen this kid play football?
Talk about the Bills. I'll see if I can pull up highlights.
Yeah, like I said, Bills, unlike the Lions, they get up huge on the Jets, and they just they took their foot off the gas, which is fine. Like I don't have a problem with it. You're up 30-3 going into the fourth quarter. There's no reason you need to keep Josh Allen, keep these guys in, because again, what I said, what's going to happen with the Lions is there's going to be some game where Dan Campbell's up 20, 30 points in the fourth quarter and he's going to get somebody injured by keeping him in there. Bills did the right thing. They had to, like, they're not losing to the Jets going in 30-3 into the fourth quarter. And they did hold Justin Fields to a absolutely abysmal game after he looked
11,
good week one against the Steelers defense. The Bills said, yeah, not here, not now. James Cook looks really dangerous. The Bills look like the best team in the league. I will give honorable mention to my Green Bay Packers, to the Baltimore Ravens, but yeah, Bills are a juggernaut. We'll see what happens when the playoffs run around, because we know that's when they like to choke it up.
Yeah, ditto to everything you said. I mean, solid Bills team, a Jets team that kind of looked like how we thought they were going to look. And now we're going to take a quick break from the NFL coverage for Baby Gronk highlights. Look at him go, Noah. Oh, that's stiff on there. And there's the touchdown. Wow. Look at that far.
Undercount hits. Pass just complete. And then
Wow.
and he takes it in.
Oh, and now he's on defense. Oh, what's an interception? I don't know, man. I think I'm starting to believe the hype, like, you know, the whole already been offered by Bama, LSU. That kind of solidified it for me, I think. You're on mute.
Are we sure that wasn't against the school of the deaf and blind? Like, do we know for sure?
No, I believe that was actually against Bishop Sycamore, if we're going to be honest.
A bunch of, but Bishop Sycamore from the time, so now they're all 40-year-old men.
So back in the day when they were just 18-year-olds pretending to be 4-year-olds, and oh, man, I can't believe that still happened. That was insane. But I don't know, Road Dogg. I think it's up for debate who runs better routes, Baby Gronk or Tyreek Hill. Anyway, Noah, I want to talk about the Battle of the Backups this week.
Let's get into
wrong
it.
Screen. Yeah, we had Mac Jones going up against Spencer Rattler. I mean, I know Spencer Rattler was announced as the starter for.
Well, Rattler's
this
not
team,
a backup. He's a starter.
I guess, but it's technically a starter. You know, it's more like assistant to the regional manager, you know. But then again, that might just be my Spencer Rattler bias coming out here. He looked fine, 25 for 34, 207.
He won that job fair and square over Tyler Show.
You're right. Tyler Show, and wasn't Brett Rippon on this team at one point?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? He won that fair and square against some career backups and a fourth-round rookie.
Yep, that he did. Biggest takeaway was that either I can't tell if the Saints offense looks good or if the 49ers defense just looks that bad. That was my biggest thing in this one. And I know it was a pretty low scoring game, but I don't know, man. Alvin Kamara, I mean, he's just had kind of a resurgence this year. He looked good against the Cardinals. He looked good against the 49ers this week. 21 carries for 99 yards. But, I mean, Chris Olave looks fine. Rashid Shaheed looks fine. Like, good pieces still around this team. But I don't know, man. Was the 49ers defense just not there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Saints have looked competent through 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if that speaks towards them or the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers.
Right?
Is my only question, because the Cardinals looked really good. And then they almost lost it to Carolina. Very, very damn near lost that game. The Niners with Mac Jones looked every bit as Brock Purdy does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think it's crazy that people think Brock Purdy's this great quarterback, because I'm like, literally, you could plug anybody into that fucking San Francisco offense. They're going to be fine, even with all the fucking injuries that they have. Mac Jones steps in and does everything Brock Purdy would have done in this game.
Yeah.
If not more. That was the swindling of a century, was Brock Purdy getting that massive-ass contract. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say, because Brock Purdy is not special. He is not special. There are 30-plus guys who can do his job better than he can, and it's going to continue to be that way for the rest of his NFL career. Yet I'm sure he gets another nice contract somewhere.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Before he's a perennial backup. Watch out, though. Next Brock Purdy, his name is Max Brosmer.
Ooh, I like that.
Plays for the Minnesota Vikings. Wait for him to get 40, 50 mil a year here in not too long after Carson Wentz is either sucking or gets injured, and then Brosmer is going to be in there at quarterback, tearing it up. No, San Francisco was uninspiring to me in this game. New Orleans, again, they look better than they should, but they're still losing. So I don't know. They look like a 2 or 3 win team instead of a 0 win team right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Road Dog just sent me more Baby Gronk highlights, and bro looks good. I'm not gonna lie, bro looks solid. So keep an eye out for Baby Gronk. Anyway, thanks for that, Road Dog. Let's keep it moving. We've already pretty much talked down this defense enough, so let's stay away from the defense here, talking about Seattle and the Steelers. Seahawks take this one 31-17. Sam Darnold not seeing a lot of ghost in this one, but did see a couple. 22 for 33, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, that's not a bad Sam Darnold stat line as far as Sam Darnold stat lines go, and especially, with what this Steelers defense was supposed to be, picking them apart pretty easy. Not a bad day in the office for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he played okay, not great. Steelers defense can't stop the fucking run, so that's going to be a problem. Nope. That's going to be a problem unless they address that very quickly. Aaron Rodgers played okay. Wasn't quite week 1 against the Jets, but yeah, Steelers are going to have to address that run defense. Seattle looked fine. Darnold saw a lot of ghosts week 1 against San Francisco. Only saw a couple of ghosts here in this game. Got the job done, but I'm not overly optimistic about either of these teams at the moment.
No, neither am I. And do you think the Steelers spent the first maybe 30 minutes of their team meeting on this game going over the new kickoff rule?
Sure. Yeah. That running back that they drafted so highly, Caleb Johnson, just like, how do you not know that's a fucking live ball? You have to know that's a live ball. He touches it and lets it roll past him. I don't know. Maybe he thought it was going to roll out the back of the end zone or whatever the hell, but
oh, dude,
that was the game. That was the game right there. Once that happened, that was bad. And I don't think Caleb Johnson for the next 2 weeks is going to be getting very many snaps, if any, on offense.
It was announced that he would be relieved of kickoff
duties
duties for right now. He is relieved of kickoff return duties or any return duties as of right now. So we'll see if he gets those back
any
at all.
snaps. He's going to be in the fucking doghouse.
Oh, for sure. Keeping it moving, Noah, we've got Rams, Titans, 33-19. Cam Ward, 19 for 33, 175 yards. Matthew Stafford, 23 for 33, 298. And kind of the coming out party for Devontae Adams with this team, 13 targets, 6 receptions, 106 yards with a tutty for himself. Puka looking a little bit more back in form as well. This Titans team's got a lot of issues. Receivers still aren't catching footballs. That's tough. They caught more footballs this week, so I'll give them that, but not enough footballs, I guess to say. I think Cam Ward looks solid. I think he's doing everything he can. I think this Titans team is just going through growing pains right now. I admire the fact that it feels like they're actually going through a real rebuild instead of one of these patch job rebuilds that the Bears have been doing since freaking 86. But
yeah. Yeah, bet against the Titans now, because about about halfway point of the season, this team is going to be a much feistier, dangerous team. If you got the Titans on your schedule, hopefully you had them in the first half of the season, because I do think this team is going to grab some games in the second half of the season.
Yeah,
they might be 1-7, 1-8, 1-9 to start their season, but I bet they finish the back half 500.
I wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked if that's how the season goes for him.
Cam Ward looks good. He needs guys to catch the ball. I think Alec Ayominor is going to end up being the number one receiver on this team.
I can see it.
Available in a lot of fantasy leagues too, by the way. Did not really much week one. Put up about 15.5 points with that crazy touchdown this past week. And if you followed the Pac-12, you would know what's going on. I mean, this is a guy who put up 200 plus and 3 touchdowns on Travis Hunter in college. That Travis Hunter's worst game as DB. Got absolutely fucking torched by Stanford. Alec Ayominor for 230, 260 yards, whatever the fuck it was, and 3 touchdowns. This dude's absolutely legit. They also got Calvin Ridley there, Tony Pollard in the backfield. Tennessee's going to be okay this year. They're going to be okay this year. It's the second start for a rookie quarterback. I'm not too worried about it. They hung in there with the Rams just fine. The Rams, who have a really good defense and a pretty good team overall. All I'm saying is watch out come the second half of the season for what Tennessee's going to do.
For sure. Second half is going to be big for them. I don't have a lot to say about this game, except the Cardinals are the Cardinals, and this game was very telling of that. Panthers-Cardinals, 22-27. God, can we just finish a fucking game? Noah, can we just finish a fucking game? Can we not? Like, this is where I wish I had Dan Campbell as a head coach. Like, no, you have to keep your foot down. No mistakes. Don't let the refs call every flag freaking imaginable in the last 4 minutes. Oh my God. So many mistakes. Such bad football at the end of this for the Cardinals. And it makes me worried for the long run. And the Panthers typically always play us tough for whatever reason. It didn't seem like it was going to be that type of a game until it was that type of a game. And Kyler looked fine, 17, 25, 220, whatever. I got that pit in my stomach for the first time this season, Noah, where I'm like, oh, and the Cardinals are just going to give this one up again.
Yeah, which Carolina did have a reasonably decent chance at that at the end, which is crazy because this was what, a 27-3 game at some point?
Yes, Noah, it was. Thank you very much for reminding me.
Yeah, I'm worried from a leadership standpoint with the Cardinals. Like, it feels like the team in the second half just got complacent.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And it makes you worry a little bit, like, if they do build up a 27-3 lead on any team, like, are they just going to, like, get lazy and complacent with it? And like, because if it's not the Panthers, like, you're running yourself into a territory of giving up a 20-plus point lead and then being like, oh, shit, what happened? Carolina, thank you for the backdoor fucking cover. I thought this was dead. I thought this bet was fucking dead with Carolina plus 6.5. They came out and covered it and then almost fucking won the game. We're driving. And I just, man, Cardinals just feel like, and it feels like a discipline, like a coaching type of, like, those are where the issues feel like they're at, not skill wise, not execution. It's feels like discipline and coaching to me is the biggest issues here.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. No, we've got a couple of games left. I do have to step away for a hot second. Do you mind?
Sure.
Wife's calling me. Sorry. We'll be right back. All right, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. We're back. My our bed frame apparently just broke, and so it's been on the fritz for a while now. And put one bag on it, and that just gave it out. So had to go deal with that real quick. Anyway, Cardinals suck, and we're about to get back to that. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna enjoy the wins while I can, but I don't think they're staying around for much
You're
longer.
tied for first place. I mean, what more can you ask for? I know you've only played the Cardinals and the Saints, so it's a little bit nerve wracking there, especially because you haven't beat them by as much as you'd like to. But
Yep, thank you, Noah.
you're still 2-0.
Anyway,
You're still
next
2-0.
game on the slate, we had the Broncos and Indianapolis Colts. Colts take away this one. They're 2-0. Noah, don't look now. 29-28, the final score here. Indiana Jones, 23 for 34, 316 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Bo Nix, 22 for 30, 206, 3 touchdowns, and an interception for Bo Picks this weekend. Colts are good, dude. I don't know about you, man. I'm thinking the Colts might be they might be a little legit. I know week 2 only, but I don't know, man. Danny Dimes looking good. Indiana Jones, Jonathan Taylor, 25 attempts, 165 yards. I mean, that's what you like to see. Daniel Jones rushing one in. I mean, and then Tyler Warren's playing football. He's pretty good at what he does.
Oh, I know when we were covering the draft, I was like, it was crazy that he slipped as far as he did.
Yeah.
And then going to the Colts, I was like, this is maybe one of the. I know I said it in the draft. I was like, this is maybe one of the biggest difference makers in the draft. I mean, this dude, if you watch him at Penn State at all, he can literally do it all. He can do it all, not just play tight end. And they've only asked him to play tight end, but if you need him to step in at quarterback, he can probably do that too. Oh man, and crazy thing, AJ, correct me if I'm wrong here or if you disagree, but if Anthony Richardson's the quarterback of this team's 0-2.
Yeah, no doubt.
And
no doubt.
It's giving absolute shades of Sam Darnold with the Vikings, Geno going to Seattle, one of those type of resurgence situations with a guy who kind of fell a little down on his luck early on in his career and not a great situation. And then you get him with a true quarterbacks coach in Steichen there in Indy. People are like, well, what the hell happened to Anthony Richardson? Well, he played less than 30 games in high school and college combined. Like, and Daniel Jones has played more games in the NFL than Anthony Richardson has played in his high school, college, and NFL career combined. Steichen, I think, is unlocked a little something. Not unlocked something, I guess that's not right, because we did see this one season out of Daniel Jones with New York.
When he had a competent running back, had a solid O-line, had a couple of weapons.
That's why he got paid. And we're seeing it again. When you put a good team around Daniel Jones, the dude can perform. He can perform when you put a good team, a good offense around him. And he's doing that. And I think he will continue to do that the rest of the year.
I do too. I was on it early. I think they're going to
be a fringe playoff team.
Yeah, I think they're a wild card if they don't win their division. I will say I do think they have a solid chance at winning their division.
I still like Houston to win this division, and I said it last week after they lost week 1 and they went to plus odds, and now they're at even better plus odds. I'm still riding with Houston to win this division, and we will get to that game in a second. But the Colts are going to be right on the verge of making playoffs this year, I think.
I could see it. I believe it. Sunday Night Football was an absolute snooze fest. 22-6, the final score. Not a lot of action in this game. Michael Penix, 13 for 21, 135 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. J.J. McCarthy, 11 for 21, 158, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. J.J. McCarthy going to be out next week with a high ankle sprain, I believe. No, sprain knee is him. I believe Jaden's the high ankle, or it's vice versa.
No.
Anyway.
No. McCarthy's the high ankle sprain. They said he's going to miss at least 2 weeks with that.
Might as well.
Yeah, he looked bad. He looked real bad.
Looked rough.
Looked real bad week 1, too, other than the fourth quarter. But That was against the Bears defense. Oh man, this was weird for me to begin with JJ McCarthy being named the starter here for a team that absolutely is not in a rebuild position in the Vikings. I mean, you won 14 goddamn games last year.
Yeah.
Why do you not go out and get a veteran quarterback to come in, even if you're losing Darnold, and you're just going to turn it over to a rookie, right? Like, this is not a rebuild situation. This is a playoff-ready team that you're throwing a rookie quarterback in there. Carson Wentz is going to be starting the next game. Again, I said it earlier. Watch out for a potential situation of Max Brosmer being the next Brock Purdy, where if something happens to Wentz, either he's not performing or there's so many different situations to go here, right? Like McCarthy's only supposed to be out a couple games. Either Wentz comes in, plays fantastic. Wentz comes in, doesn't play fantastic. Brosmer takes over. Wentz gets injured. Brosmer takes over. If either Brosmer or Wentz are looking really, really sharp in this offense, JJ McCarthy is not getting the starting job back.
No, absolutely not. And he hasn't shown a reason why he should.
And if neither of them are playing or looking good, JJ McCarthy is going to be back as the starter in a couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens with that. But it's going to be really interesting. Jordan Addison's coming back, not this next week, but the week after from his suspension. And there's a lot of firepower on this offense. There is a lot of firepower on this offense. Falcons did dominate them. McCarthy, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble lost, had 2 other fumbles that were recovered by the Vikings. So he could have had 5 turnovers in this game. Falcons look competent. I think they're going to be in the mix for this division. I mean, they look decent against the Bucs week 1 at home. They looked really good in this game, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Again, it's just weird for the Vikings to have such a good roster set up. And then the one position that you're just like, yeah, whatever, we'll roll the dice with a brand new rookie as quarterback. Like, it just makes no sense.
No sense in that moment. It does make sense now.
You're not anywhere in a rebuild. You are a playoff contending team. Like, they should have gone out in free agency, gotten another veteran quarterback that can come in and play. Because, like, they're in a position where you can win now. And instead we're going with this rookie. And it just made no sense to me. I think 7 out of the 8 quarters that he's played so far this year, he's shown why it makes no sense. And they're lucky to be 1-1 and not 0-2.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Absolutely. This guy encroached the base path. They're calling him out, but we're going to review. Sorry, tight game with the D-backs as we're 1.5 games back. Need to win this one to stay 1.5 games back. He got in his way. He bumped into him. How are you calling that runner interference? Anyway, sorry. Monday Night Football, Noah. We had Buccaneers and the... It's not working for me now. We had Buccaneers and the Texans. Buccaneers win this one 20-19. Baker Mayfield coming out 25 for 38, 215, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. CJ Stroud 13 for 24, 207, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Really looked like a game that the Texans, maybe we're going to squeeze that at the end. And then, oh, wait a minute. Sorry, let me check X-ray. Baker has that dog in him. I covered this game last night. I've said everything I needed to about this. Love Baker, Mike Evans, Mika Mbuka. Love what that team is rolling with. Todd Bowles has got those guys going. This Buccaneers team is going to be very dangerous this year. And not that they're not always dangerous, but it looks like, and they don't even have Chris Godwin back right now. I mean, this is a team that it looks like over the last couple of years, they were getting comfortable and now they're ready to go with Baker.
Yeah, I think they still do have some big questions on defense.
Yeah.
My favorite was Browns fans got to be punching the air after seeing Nick Chubb get the what seemed like the game-winning touchdown, and then Baker leading a touchdown drive to win the game after it. sorry if anyone's a Cleveland fan. Didn't mean to take unnecessary shots at you, but it does seem like Nick Chubb is running back one for this team. We'll see what happens when Mixon comes back, but that's going to be real interesting. That's going to be real interesting because Chubb had a nice game, I thought. He had a nice game. Didn't have a great game week one. He's obviously coming back from big time injury, but he looked good. Chubb looked good. They stuck with him. He didn't have a great game until that final drive for the Texans, and then obviously Tampa coming back and answering. But both of these teams I think are going to be fringe playoff teams. I think both of them are fringe playoff teams. They could both be in. They could both be out. We'll see what happens with it. But Texans have a lot of issues to fix. The Bucks don't. I think there's a narrow range between what the Bucks' floor and ceiling is this year. Texans could be all over the fucking place. I'm not overly worried about them starting 0-2. They played two really good teams in the Rams and the Bucks. And they have a weak division, so the Texans could very well still be a playoff team. Yeah. Buccaneers also in a really weak division, but we'll see what happens, how the season plays out for both of these teams.
That we will. Last game we had Chargers, Raiders. Chargers win this one 20-9. Geno Smith, not a great game. 3 interceptions. Not all of his fault, but putting the ball in some risky positions. Raiders overall just didn't look good. Couldn't get it started in the run game. Couldn't really get it going in the air. Chargers, felt a little bit back more to normal. Still letting Justin Herbert sling it around 19 for 27, 242 yards. But I mean, got everyone involved, Najee, Amari, and Hampton. They still stuck a lot with the passing game. I don't know if they just can't really get the run game going or what's going on there, but the passing game's working so well, might as well stick with it, right?
Yeah, I hope not, as somebody who's an Amari and Hampton owner in both of my fantasy leagues. It's kind of really putting a damper on things. Who I thought that was a really good pick, right? I'm like, the Chargers, probably the most run-heavy team in the entire NFL. And then Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh said, "Nah, we'd like to pass. We'd like to pass the ball this year." And Chargers defense looks really good. Their offense with this super, super heavy play action, which is crazy because they're like running play action more than they're running run plays.
Yeah.
Will teams start catching on to that? Maybe. We'll see what happens as the season goes on. But I think what the teams are just expecting them to run the ball every time. And
what if?
And now they're running all this play action on first and second down. Herbert's looking great. Quentin Johnston's actually catching the ball. Keenan Allen's had a resurgence now that he's not playing in a Bears uniform. And not that he had a bad year with the Bears, but yeah, still. And then you got Ladd McConkey there too. And the running backs kind of got lost in the dust on this one. And it didn't matter. The Chargers took care of business. They won the game. I think they absolutely are in the driver's seat in the AFC West at this point. You got Denver at 1-1 after losing to the Colts in the last second. And you got a win over the Raiders. They're 2-0 in division play. They beat the Chiefs, who are now 0-2, sitting in last place in that division. Chargers are absolutely in the driver's seat here in the AFC West.
I would agree. And I mean, one thing about Harbaugh, maybe he's just playing such deep chess with football. He's like, everyone uses the run to establish the play action and the pass game. What if we use play action to establish the pass game and then establish the run game at a to be determined date? And so probably the Broncos coming up this next week, Sean Payton's going to get in there looking at film. Well, they look like they're running the ball, but they never run the fucking ball. So we're just going to drop back into coverage when they go play action because we know they're going to pass it. He'll do it once, he'll do it twice, and the Broncos will think, and then he's just going to hand off the ball for 15 plays in a row. And see, Harbaugh's he's just different, bro. He's using play action to set up the run. What a dog. What a dog.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but we will see for sure. I believe that's the full slate here, AJ.
Yeah. You got anything else?
No, we got Thursday night football coming up real quick. We'll be in with our college and NFL slate tomorrow, and yeah,
yes, sir.
Gonna be a good time.
Should be a good one. But yeah, hey, with all that being said, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Shout out to everyone watching here on Rumble, YouTube, and X. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. But with all that, I'm the bro for 21 AJ. That's the money train Noah. And we'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.